Going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. In this video, we are looking at the NBA slate for tonight. We have 6 games for DraftKings and Fanduel starting at 7 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it. The like button, subscribe if you have not already. I am back home in PA after being in Wisconsin for the last few days. So it's good to be back in my own house. Let's see if we can try to get some money tonight. Last night fell short on both sites, so just... Van Fleet was disappointing. Some of the other guys just didn't come through. But today's a new slate. We have the Raptors once again on it. Van Fleet's 82. He still looks like a good price tag. He didn't return with a quote-unquote illness, but they were losing big. They had a back-to-back with travel, so maybe they just wanted to give him some rest. He's still a decent play, I'd say, at 82, but there are some other good options to look at. You have Luka Doncic at 12.6. He's very expensive. Probably the most expensive he's been all year now. So it's only by 100 more, but still, I don't think I want to pay all this much for Luka today. Portland is a good team overall. They have some good defensive players, depending on if Nurkic is going to be able to play tonight. And there's a good chance that the Mavs get Christian Wood back today, who's probable. So there'll be a little bit less scoring responsibilities on Luka. And then you have the two Atlanta guards at 10K against the Sixers. Once again, I just don't have too much interest there. And then Lillard is pretty expensive at almost 10K. I like the guys in the 8K range better, like Van Fleet. Halliburton is approaching 9K, but he's still been one of the most consistent guards in the league this year. He's only had one poor game out of the 11 that he's played in. So getting you over 40 fantasy points 90% of the time is going to be pretty good for cash games, but still think Van Fleet's a decent option, cheaper. We know Cade is questionable. If he's out again, then I like Ivy. You could look to Killian Hayes, although he's been so bad this year. He did have a good game last night. And it would look a little bit better for like Bogdanovic / Sadiq Bey. Tyler Hero's also questionable if he's in. I don't want to pay all this much for him, but if he's out, then Butler will look better. Vincent / Strus will look a little bit better. Bam looks a little bit better. Value guys, Jalen Green is only $6,300. Love this price tag. It's a good matchup against the Pelicans. It should be a fast-paced game. Should be pretty high scoring. We know in close games, Green is playing big minutes. He's played 40 and 38 the last 2 games, and those are the games where he finally kind of got back to shooting really well. Over 57% and 67%. Before that, he had a couple of down games mixed in here. It was on like a 3-game stretch where he couldn't really buy buckets. That was on a road trip. So they're going on another road trip, but at least this one he's been able to knock down some shots, and the price tag is kind of really appealing when he was still like high 6Ks at the end of last month. They're getting him at pretty low 6K range on a smaller slate. Other picks at the point guard position would be possibly Melton, but I like Green for 100 less. Burks made his debut last night. We'll be seeing if he is able to play today on a back-to-back. If not, if he's out and Cade is out, then Corey Joseph, who started but only played like 5 minutes. Pretty odd, but he'd get more minutes. Hayes would be a good value at 36. He's been so bad this year, but if he's going to get like the minutes, he can still give you some assists and rebounds like he did last night. Over at shooting guard, once again, Murray's not much of a play for me. Ingram gets a great matchup against Houston. The price tag is expensive at 87, so I'm not sure want to get to him. Rather maybe get to his teammate McCollum on FanDuel. I like Brandon Ingram's price tag. And then you have like Van Fleet at $8,200. Guys in 6K, I like Buddy Hield to bounce back. He had still had a decent game shooting wise. 7 of 16 isn't bad, but just didn't give you anything else besides I just had 1 rebound in the other 34 minutes. But going up against the Toronto team on a back-to-back at home, I think you'll be able to put up some numbers. Also have Dinwiddie, who's only shooting guard eligible, but he's been balling out for the Mavs this year. Really kind of taking a step up, playing bigger minutes now. Now that he's starting and they bring in like Tim Hardaway off the bench this year, he's starting to really be a nice fit alongside Luka. Don't expect him to shoot this well every single game, but he can give you assists, give you rebounds, and score. He's not just a guy that's going to put the ball in the basket like Tim Hardaway. He'll give you some good peripheral stats, and that price tag, I like him basically almost half the price tag of Luka, a little less than that. Other picks would be Jaden Ivey if there's no Cade or if there's no Alec Burks. He's had some good games. He did put up 45 against the Celtics defense a couple games ago, and could get even more usage today if Cade continues to be out. Mathurin looks solid as well at 55. And then value pieces could be like Derek White once again if Brogdon is ruled out. Over at small forward, your pay up is Tatum. I like Brown for 1,600 less instead of Tatum. Guys in 7K range, still like OG. A little bit better than Barnes just with the $600 savings. And then you have Tobias Sandwich in between. It looks okay. Sixers got blown out against the Hawks last time, and they're going right back up against them, but at least this time they're at home in Philly, so should be closer. Sixers probably could even get the win. But I'm putting in Buddy Hield for right now at 66. It's a good matchup against Toronto. They're like middle of the pack and giving up some opponent three-point percentage. In terms of opponent field goal percentage, they're giving up a very high number at 47%. They just typically, sometimes they're able to hold the teams to lower scoring just with how they play pace-wise, but it's in Indiana. The Pacers, they play no defense, so it should be a more up-tempo type of pace. Hopefully the Pacers are able to control it. And the price tag is still reasonable for a guy that's been mostly in the 40s this year. And without Duarte, it's just good minutes to be had for the Wings. Power forward, I don't mind Zion at 88. Butler would look good if there is no Tyler Hero. Value guys would be possibly like Tobias. PJ Washington at 59. I like a couple of these Houston bigs. You have KJ Martin at 45. With Jayshawn Tate still out, he's kind of getting good minutes this year, being like the six-man guy off the bench, playing like 23 to 25, can get up to 30 if he's playing really well. So he looks good. And then you also have Tari Eason, just with some of the injuries to the bigs. He's also benefited by kind of backing up Sengun this year and even getting some minutes at the 4. And he's been really productive. Great defensive player, get you rebounds, get you some good looks at the basket, and even can knock down the 3. So if you need some savings, I like those guys more than like Finney Smith and like Larry Nance. Over at center, your main pay up is Embiid. 11-1 is pretty expensive. I don't think I'll get to him at that price tag. Other guys I like are the guys in 6K range. You have Miles Turner at 63. Once again, just been really good this year. The games that he's been able to play at least good minutes in. We know he sometimes will get into foul trouble, but at least today, with Siakam being out for the Raptors, a little bit less risk of that happening going up against like Koloko instead of Siakam. Koloko's not going to get you much production offensively. So hopefully Turner's able to stay out of foul trouble and is able to kind of do what he has been doing all year, which is big blocks games, big rebounding performances, scoring pretty well. He had one crazy great game against the Pelicans, and the price tag is still very, very cheap for a guy that will contribute in basically every category except for assists. And then another center that I don't mind is going down to like Clint Capella at $6,000. They're going to need a size out there against Embiid. Embiid and Capella have gone back and forth a lot over the years, especially in the playoffs last year and 2 years ago. And Capella and the Hawks at this price tag. And last game played 26 minutes against Embiid. Almost had a 20-20 game. But last couple of games he's been crashing the glass, and those are at least against the Jazz. I mean, they have nobody to rebound really, so not surprising. He had a big rebounding performance there, but against Embiid and the Sixers, sometimes he'll bring out the best in him. So at this price tag, if he can get you over 40, you'll be really happy, but I think he has a good chance of getting a double-double, getting you over 30 at least. This is what I got on DraftKings as a kind of a first look on this Saturday slate. Let's go ahead and look at FanDuel. So for FanDuel, right now, I have the picks on the screen. Jalen Green, $6,000 at the point guard position, looks like one of the better value picks. Luka's price tag is rising on FanDuel, is 12-2 now. Van Fleet's expensive. Young and DeJounte Murray are still expensive. I like the price tag on Lillard. McCollum, going down to like Kevin Porter Jr. looks pretty solid. Once again, I like Dinwiddie. I put him in at shooting guard against Portland. He's been looking really good recently. Hopefully he can stay hot again today. And value guys, possibly like Vincent, depending on the Tyler Hero news, or Killian Hayes, depending on the Cade and Alec Burke news. Shooting guard, like I said, I like Dinwiddie's price tags. OG's a bit too expensive for me. Halliburton is still expensive. Like Brown looks good. McCollum looks good, but I put in Brandon Ingram at small forward at $8,000. It's a great price tag, $700 cheaper. And then he is on DraftKings. And then like Buddy Hield is a bit tougher to get to On FanDuel, you don't get those bonuses for 3 points made, and the price tag is a lot higher. Ivy is not somebody I'd look to on FanDuel at 7,000. So I look to like Oubre, Green as the value guys, possibly Mathurin, possibly Melton. And that's kind of it for the most part, depending on, and these guys will wait on the news that we get out of those teams. Small forward Ingram is still one of my favorite picks at the position with the price tag being so low. Other guy would be Brown. And then I'd look to probably go down here for maybe a Gary Trent or Sadiq Bey for some value guys. In the 4K range, Martin and Eason once again can give you some good production with their, at least Eason with the defensive stats. Power forward, not a great position. You just have a couple of guys that stick out, like Zion, but his price tag is up there. Butler's price tag is up there as well. You have Bam, but then I still like Turner with the blocks and steals that he can give you, especially blocks on FanDuel will be really valuable if he has another big game, which he probably can against this Toronto front court. Value guys would be John Collins, possibly PJ Washington, and then you're looking down for like maybe Jabari Smith. He's been struggling a bit recently. And then you can look to Martin once again. And last guy at center, I put in Sengun at 67. I still like the price tag. You could look to Embiid if you wanted to, or you could go down to like a Capella. I haven't really decided, depending on what I get to by the end of the day, but probably go with either Capella, Sengun, Embiid, or possibly even Valanciunas, who has a great matchup, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll get some news that'll help make that decision, but right now Sengun's been putting up good numbers recently, and they'll need him out there against Valanciunas, and they both match up pretty well. Both guys can shoot the three and stretch the floor a bit. So that's what I got today. Stay tuned for the NFL video out later this afternoon for week number 10 already. But best of luck today. Stay tuned for updates on Twitter, and I will see you all next time.